Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1892B, and today's date is June 13th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Durham Secret Weapon, Deep State Setup, Panic, Server Brings Down the House. Father's Day is right around the corner, and one of the best gifts you can give Dad this holiday season is the Patriot flashlight. So what do you get with the Patriot flashlight? Well, you never have to waste money on batteries. It's solar powered. It lights up the darkest of nights. It has life-saving emergency strobe lights. You can charge your phone anywhere. Users have reported this flashlight to be an all-in-one lifesaver. Patriot flashlight is the perfect gift for Dad this holiday. Limited supplies last, and this is the very last chance to get yours at a discount before they sell out. Use code X20 and get 20% off the Patriot flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they've been hitting back hard at Trump, and this is just going to get worse as we move forward, where the deep state, they're going to pull any type of trick or push any type of agenda to try to get Trump, but it's not going to work. And I know they're going after Kellyanne Conway, and they're saying that she violated the Hatch Act, and the individual that is responsible for that is an Obama deep state attorney, and they're doing this to try to shake up his administration. But once again, it's not going to work, and we can see this is going to be a dead end for them. We see with the Mueller report, we see with the investigations that they have ongoing, they're all not working. Everyone is not paying attention. And yes, they continually try. So they're going to up the ante. But the thing is that everything is falling down around them. And we need to remember what Q has told us. The server is going to bring down the house. And that reminds me of a song, Burning Down the House, which was sung by Talking Heads. Maybe we should take that song and rewrite it and say Bringing Down the House, because that's going to be happening very, very soon. Why do I say this? Britain's Home Secretary has revealed he signed a request for extradition for Julian Assange to the U.S., where he's accused, of course, of violating the Espionage Act. And remember, these charges are going to be very difficult to prove. But they needed to use something to bring him back to the United States. And the hearing has been rescheduled for Friday. Now, remember what Q has been telling us, that the source is protected. So what was the plan? Get Assange out of the Ecuadorian embassy. Old charges will be used that they won't be able to prove. Have the UK arrest Assange. Have Assange brought to the hospital wing to protect him. Say he's ill and keep him under guard. Leak pictures out of Assange that he's okay. Then extradite Assange back to the US. Assange, the source, is used or will be used to set the record straight. This is what the deep state fears. The truth. They don't want Assange coming back to the United States. They don't want Assange testifying. Why? Because, once they ask him the question, hey, where did you get the emails? Did you team up with Russia? Did Russia help you? He's going to say no. Russia didn't help me. Then how did you get them? He's going to say it was somebody from the inside. Who? Seth Rich. Let's go back to post 1462. An Anon put up, Seth Rich connect to DNC. MS-13, Julian Assange. Why did the D's push legal rep on family? June ETA. That's very interesting. Q says, what recent news came out about Seth Rich, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks lawsuit? Back in the news, the server brings down the house. Who has the server? The Patriots. Who's going to have the source of all of this? Julian Assange. And guess what? It is going to bring down the house. The plan is going exactly the way they want. And soon, once everything starts to come out, they're going to bring Julian Assange into the mix. He's going to be very, very helpful with all these investigations in figuring out how certain things happened. And I do believe this is all part of the plan. Now, something very interesting just happened with George Nader. This is the individual that was busted for child porn, where they found some of this on his electronic devices. And he was busted years back, but they dropped the case back then, and he was free to go about his business. And he has close ties with the Clintons, and he was in a picture with Bill Clinton, and he was at an island very close to Epstein Island, and Q back then said, who owned the boat, how many girls were waiting for their return to the boat, what does a handler procure, and Q is basically telling us that this is all part of the same thing where these individuals had gone to Epstein Island. And knowing that George Nader had child pornography on his electronic devices, it all starts to make sense. But Paul Sperry tweeted out the following. Mueller witnessed Nader's attorney, Catherine Rumler, also happens to be Susan Rice's attorney, who was neck-deep in the mushrooming of Spygate scandal. Rumler was Mueller's pitbull, Andrew Weissman's deputy of the Enron task force, and Obama's White House counsel. Can you say conflict? Absolutely. And if you noticed that going back a couple of months to now, a lot more information is coming out, and this is being done on purpose. Now, we know that Flynn has hired Sidney Powell. She's going on the offensive, and she will set Flynn free. And Trump tweeted out the following. General Michael Flynn, the 33-year-old war hero who has served with distinction, has not retained a good lawyer. He has retained a great lawyer, Sidney Powell. Best wishes and good luck to them both. Sidney Powell decided to respond to Trump's tweet. Thank you, Mr. President. I am honored to represent him. Which means she's going to be looking through all of this. And guess what? She's going to free Flynn, and she's most likely going to show that he was trapped and they were spying on him. Now, the deep state, they realize they cannot impeach. They're panicking. Elijah Cummings is panicking. When you read the tweet, as he's tweeting out, think about what he's really saying. He's really talking about himself. He's talking about the deep state and what they have done. Here's the tweet. The Trump administration is engaged in one of the most unprecedented cover-ups since Watergate. And it is not just about Russia. This cover-up spans across numerous investigations. So, who is being investigated? That's right, he and his wife. Let's talk about Trump cover-ups that are unprecedented. The Mueller report came out, said no collusion, no obstruction. Trump's staff and everyone was questioned. They handed over millions of documents. Barr issued the full report with only the grand jury redacted according to the law. Barr completely is transparent. No evidence of wrongdoing. Unprecedented cover-up. I don't think so. Let's look at the other side for a second. Like I said, Elijah Cummings, he's being investigated right now by the IRS. What about Clinton? 33 emails destroyed. What about Obama, Clinton, the gang, spying on the president and others, creating and paying for the dossier? They got dirt from foreign governments on the president, and they created it, using fake dossier to obtain FISA warrants to cover up the illegal spying of a president, using CIA and FBI informants to trap the Trump administration, the Uranium One deal, and I can go on and on and on. So when he's talking about unprecedented cover-ups, yeah, he's talking about everyone on his side, the deep state. And Trump, he tweeted out the following. Congress cannot impeach President Trump. Did nothing wrong, because if they did, they'd be putting themselves above the law. The Constitution provides criteria for impeachment: treason, bribery, high crimes, and misdemeanors. Unless there is compelling evidence, impeachment is not constitutionally permissible. Alan Dershowitz, constitutional lawyer. And he's right. They have nothing. Why do you think they keep threatening impeachment? Why do you think they want the evidence from Mueller? Because they're searching for something. They're searching for treason, bribery, high crimes, and misdemeanors. They don't have it right now. And they don't know what to do because Mueller, that was the person that was going to hand them everything. And they got nothing. Now they're scrambling. And yes, they're going off in all different directions trying to figure out what we can do and how we can convince the American people that he's guilty of something. Now, Trump was interviewed by George Stephanopoulos, and I believe what happens next was completely planned by the Patriots. And remember, Trump is a master of making it look like, oh, yeah, like, I would do this, I would do that. So, ABC News, they interviewed him, and they tweeted out, President Trump tells George Stephanopoulos he wouldn't necessarily alert the FBI if approached by foreign figures with information on his 2020 opponent. It's not an interference. They have information. I think I take it. Now, did you catch what Trump just did? Before we get there, let's look at how Brennan is panicking right now. Brennan responded to the interview that Trump gave. This is just the latest example of what Vice President Biden meant when he said that Mr. Trump is an existential threat to our country. Unfit to be president is a gross understatement. At real Donald Trump is undeserving of any public office, and all Americans should be outraged. Outraged at what he just said, because he's responding to the interview that he would accept dirt on an opponent. And Brennan is saying that America should be outraged at this. Boom. Guess what he just did? He just set them up. Remember, Brennan and Clapper? They can't erase their past misdeeds. The Five Eyes allies, they're not going to help them at this point. They know they're screwed. They know they can't figure out a way out of this. All they can do is hit hard at Trump, try to get him impeached, or maybe try to assassinate him in some way if all goes wrong. Now, Pelosi is out there, and she said, what is it about the Republicans in Congress? How much more can they bear of the president's unethical behavior? They think they're honoring their oath of office. I believe this is all connected. I think it's all about the money. Connect the dots. In all of this, it's all about the money. Look at what the president is doing in terms of Saudi Arabia and the sale of nuclear technology. Ooh, wait a minute. Sale of nuclear technology, uranium-1. Very interesting. As well as planes to Saudi Arabia. Follow the money. Who benefits from that? Declare a national emergency so that you can bypass Congress in terms of those sales. Bypass the law in terms of transferring of nuclear technology to a country. Follow the money. Whoa, is she projecting? Is she panicking? Is she talking about what they have done? Yes. That's what she's doing. She's panicking right now. Guess what? They are following the money, Nancy Pelosi, and they're going to find out exactly what was done. Ted Lieu is out there, and he said what Donald Trump said is un-American, unpatriotic, and unbelievable. The issue is not Oppo research. You can take Oppo research. You cannot take it from a foreign power. Okay, so you can't take opposition research from a foreign power. He said there's a law against this. The Federal Election Campaign Act says candidates can't take anything of material value from a foreign power. Donald Trump is selling America down for his own personal benefit. Oh, these people fell right into the trap. It's unbelievable. Did you see what Trump did? He just set up the mainstream media, the deep state, and all the others. What did Brennan, Clinton, Obama, and the rest of the gang do? They paid foreign powers to produce dirt on Trump. The foreign powers didn't say, we have dirt and here you go. They paid them to create it. Think about that. And they used it against a president-elect and a president. The dossier was never verified. It was used to get FISA warrants, and in the end, it was completely fake. Now Trump is saying that he would accept dirt on his opponents from foreign powers. What does the mainstream media, the deep state, do? They go crazy over it. How dare you? We're outraged. There's laws against this. He just set them up. Now when the truth comes out, and they say, Clinton, Obama, Brennan, they were behind this. They went to foreign powers. They paid them to create this information. Then they accepted the information, and they used it against the president. What is the mainstream media going to do? See what he's doing here? He's catching all these people in lies. This is being done on purpose. He's exposing all of these people. And guess what? We're going to have to follow what they said to do, right? Because they said it. Now it's on record. He's completely setting them up, and they have no clue what's happening here. Paul Sperry tweets out the following. Trump is now getting grief for telling ABC's Stephanopoulos that, yes, he'd open to hearing dirt on an opponent from a foreign source. Why not? Hillary did it. She hired a former foreign government spy to provide her dirt on Trump, 35 pages of it, and even paid $168,000 for it. They just backed themselves in a corner. Who's in control? Patriots. Trump and the Patriots, they're cornering the deep state. It's not enough to produce the D-class, the OIG, and the rest. The Patriots need to show that these individuals lied to keep the cover-up going. Remember, this whole entire thing, the cover-up, and their continual lies, this is going to be their downfall. The mainstream media lied to protect them. All of this was done on purpose. Here's the intent. Think about it. They got them. Now let's move on to the secret weapon that John Durham's going to use. This is coming out of the conservative treehouse. The New York Times has a report surrounding U.S. Attorney John Durham questioning CIA officials about the origination of the Trump-Russia investigation. However, when you take a closer look at the substance underneath the New York Times reporting, and it doesn't actually look like Durham is questioning the CIA about the investigation itself. Rather, it appears he is questioning the CIA about how they came to the conclusions within the January 7th, 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment, or ICA. So, what is he doing? Questioning the construct of the ICA. This is a very smart direction to take when you're reviewing or investigating. By looking at the intelligence community work product, Durham will cut through a lot of the chatter and get to the heart of the intelligence motives. CTH has previously outlined how the December 29, 2016 Joint Analysis Report on Russia's cyber activity was a quickly compiled bunch of nonsense about Russia hacking. The JAR, J-A-R, has followed a week later by the January 7, 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment. The ICA took the ridiculous construct of the JAR and then overlaid a political narrative that Russia was trying to help Donald Trump. The claims within the ICA were completely silly and manufactured specifically to present a political narrative intended to undermine President Trump. The ICA was the brain trust of who? Brennan, Clapper, Comey. NSA Director Mike Rogers would not sign up to the high confidence claims, likely because he saw through the political motives of the report. Now, Durham is looking into just this aspect. Was the ICA document a political engineered report stemming from within a corrupt intelligence network? The importance of that question is huge. All of the downstream claims about Russian activity, including the Russian indictments promoted by Rosenstein and the Mueller team, are centered around the origination claims of illicit Russian activity outlined in the ICA. If the ICA is a false political document, then guess what? The entire narrative from the JAR and the ICA is part of a big fraud. Brilliant move by Durham. He's cutting through all of this and going where? To the source. And he doesn't have to question all these people. He's going to figure it out just by looking at all this information. What else is Durham's team investigating? His team is examining trips to Langley, as well as London taken by Strzok, McCabe, and Priestab. Devin Nunes and Mark Meadows, they also discuss corruption within the FBI Department of Justice and a new whistleblower coming forward. But that's not all. Nunes confirmed that Rosenstein's original scope memo was based on empowering, authorizing Weissman and Mueller to investigate. And he can't say any more because a lot of it's classified, but he's saying there's a lot in there and it proves what they all thought. Now, something very interesting. Hours before Trump took office, the Obama administration scrambled to purge 12 years' worth of transcripts spanning hundreds of speeches from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement website. Now, the organization that looked into this was the Sunlight Foundation, and they said a collection of 190 transcripts of speeches on ICE's website was deleted on January 18th and late in the evening on January 19, 2017, according to research conducted by the Sunlight Foundation, a nonpartisan organization that advocates for government transparency. Statements made by high-ranking ICE officials regarding controversial immigration topics such as sanctuary cities, E-Verify, treatment of detainees, and other issues were included in the reported deletions. Now, why did they do this? What are they covering up? They're looking into this, but these are speeches from former acting ICE Director Thomas Homan, who were prominently included in the deletion list, including a February 2016 speech in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee in which Homan discussed that unaccompanied minor crisis which the Obama administration was grappling to manage at the southern border. So this is very interesting that they decided, let's get rid of all this information. And the question is why? What's in there that they didn't want people to see or Trump to see as he was coming into office? And we can see the deep state, they do this all the time. When they don't want people to see certain things, they censor, they delete, they get rid of things. Now, James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, he put up a video and he had this whistleblower come forward in regards to Pinterest saying that they had this list of blocked sites that they deem dangerous, but they weren't dangerous. They were conservative websites. And YouTube decided this video cannot stay on the platform because it violates individuals' privacy. Now, James O'Keefe tweeted out the following: tech giants retaliating against insider who leaked docs showing censorship of Christian and pro-life material. They have removed our investigative insider report at YouTube, now fighting bulletproof journalism by deleting it. Video still on our website. And we can see that all these tech companies, and this is why there's antitrust lawsuits going on or investigations going on right now to investigate to see if these companies should be broken up or not. Did they violate any of the antitrust acts, laws? And they're looking into all this. And you can see that the tech companies, they all have their own lists that have nothing to do with porn or nudity or violence or extremism or anything like that. They're building lists to censor certain individuals. And you can see they're pushing this agenda forward. And again, we know the government is now looking at these tech companies. Now, something very interesting happened with Iran. There were 2 tankers that were damaged after a torpedo hit these 2 tankers while Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was visiting Iran. And we know that the German representative and Europe representatives, they're all in Iran. Now, this is very interesting because the timing is unbelievable. And I know that Pompeo's out there and they're saying it was Iran. But why would Iran do this? Do I think it was Iran? No, I think it was the deep state, the neocons. I do believe once again that Trump already has a deal with Iran. And they don't want Trump to get rid of their deal. They want to start a war. They're pushing very hard. And again, they were doing this in North Korea. They're doing it in Venezuela. And they're trying to do this in Iran. Remember, Q has told us that North Korea, then Iran. Iran is next. And we know that there's black sites, there's deep state involvement in all these areas. We know that John Kerry, Obama, and many other of Obama's administration, they were in Iran speaking to certain individuals. And you can see they're trying to push their agenda. And they don't want this deal to happen because it will expose all of them. Now, Bolton and Pompeo, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yes, it's Iran. Yes, it's Iran. To keep the mainstream media, to keep everyone very, very busy thinking we're going to be going to war. What happened in North Korea? They did the same exact thing. Yes, there were different players, but they were doing the same exact thing. Now, very interestingly, Run to the Races tweeted out the following, and Annan on the boards started to look at a lot of the tweets by Cory Booker, by Kamala Harris, and started to wonder why they continually use the number 56. And the tweet says, 56 code mentioned in cabal tweets is suicide police code, Annan notable. And when you look at this and you start to break it down, it's very odd that they're using this number. It's like they're sending coded messages that someone might be thinking about committing suicide or getting close to it. Here's Cory Booker's tweet. Civil rights activist Medgar Evers was assassinated by a KKK member in front of his home 56 years ago today. Kamala Harris. The world lost a remarkable man 56 years ago when civil rights activist Medgar Evers was assassinated. Here's another tweet by Tom Perez. 56 years ago, the Equal Pay Act became law, which made gender-based pay discrimination illegal. Cory Booker. The Equal Pay Act was signed into law 56 years ago. Kamala Harris. There is an epidemic of violence against Native American women. Approximately 56% of Native women have experienced sexual violence. And basically what they're saying is that they're sending messages about people who are thinking or might have committed suicide already. And maybe they're doing this because they're very nervous about the D-class and everything else coming out and them being exposed. So this is very interesting, the way they took this information and they deciphered it and they started to look at all these different tweets. And yes, the 56 is a very, very common number that they are continually tweeting out in different messages. Now, before we end this, I want to leave you with this tweet by Paul Sperry because I think this is very important as we move forward. He says, do not be misled or confused by the coming spin, damage control, or subterfuge. The Clinton Commission dossier permeated through the Interagency's Task Force, the Crossfire Hurricane Probe, the FISA, the ICA, and the SCO. Make no mistake, the dossier permeated through everything. And we're going to see a lot of the mainstream media try to spin everything that is coming. And the attacks on Trump, the Trump administration, and others, they're going to intensify as we move forward. And once the D-class comes out, it's going to really intensify. So get prepared, get ready, and keep your mind, your ego, your expectations clear, and look at what is happening. Look at the facts. Don't listen to the propaganda, because the propaganda is meant to sway you over to make you think that they're right and they have something on Trump. It's actually the opposite. The Patriots have all the documentation. The Patriots have all the information. They have the source. They have the server. They have the signed documentation. They have exactly what they did. And now they're lying about it. Now they're trying to cover up about it. This is going to be their downfall. And Trump, the Patriots, they've been setting them up since the beginning. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.